Welcome to the first ever gener8tor Venture Studio premiere night in Huntsville, Alabama. Woo! My name is Chris Wimmer, and I'm the managing director of the Venture Studio here in Huntsville. And gener8tor is a startup accelerator and venture capital firm with a mission to be the best partner in a community that invests in its best and brightest. We have an amazing night ahead of us, and I would like to take a moment real quick before we kick things off to recognize the incredible organizations that have supported gener8tor this past year and helped us get established here in Huntsville. So with that, to our partners, RCP companies, Mid-City Accelerator Foundation, and the Alabama Department of Commerce, your dedication to the growth and innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem in North Alabama has been remarkable. You back your words with actions, and you've been an extension of our team, and we're thankful for everything that you've done for us. To our sponsors, First Metro Bank, Bank Independent, Arco Murray, Robbins & Morton, Fortiff Law Firm, Iron Mountain Solutions, and Feather & Gill Capital. The sheer number of sponsors supporting gener8tor and our startup founders goes to show how important entrepreneurship is to this broader community. Your generosity and enthusiasm for gener8tor's presence in North Alabama is humbling. You have not only supported gener8tor financially, but have supported our founders through mentorship and encouragement, and we are grateful for everything you've done to make our programs possible. And with that, before we kick things off, I'd like to invite Audrey Smith up. Audrey is the program director for Hatch, and Hatch is a local nonprofit here in Huntsville with a mission to empower our youth through hospitality and culinary training. And tonight we're asking those who are here in person and online to consider generously donating to this local nonprofit and the great work that they're doing. So here's Audrey to share a little bit more about their vision.
Thank you so much. Here we go. Good evening. Thank you again so much for having us here and letting me tell you a bit more about the Hatch program. And thank you in advance for your support and donations. So Hatch is a nonprofit workforce development program. We train young people, and the term we use is opportunity youth, it's ages 18 to 24. And that's young adults who aren't in school, aren't working, maybe lack a support system, and we become that for them. We do training in a cafe, so they're learning what we call it's life skills through knife skills. So they're learning front of house, back of house, and financial literacy. We have a therapist with us that's doing, coping skills and conflict resolution, and I'm doing job coaching and career planning. So we're also taking them on field trips, exposing them to job opportunities all throughout our area, and then plugging them into actual jobs in the hospitality and culinary fields with ongoing support. So these young people going through the program changes their life trajectory. We provide them resources that changes what they know is possible for them and what gives them the help that they need, but also their families. The greatest thing, well, one of the great things is this: there is no fee to participate, and we actually pay our young people a stipend. So as we're teaching them that financial literacy, they're actually using those tools and budgeting, and then they're earning a bonus by the time they complete the graduation program or the Hatch program. So I'm here. I'll stick around if you have any questions, if you'd like to get involved, if you think you'd like to be a mentor, if you're an entrepreneur, like all of you are, if you'd like to come and speak to our class to inspire our young people and see if they'd like to get involved in your business, we're here for that too. So you can find us online, hatchhsv.com. I have our flyers on the back table, and then we also have the links for donations. But my contact information is at the bottom of the flyer, so please reach out. And thank you again for having us here and letting us share Hatch with you, and thank you for your support.
We good? There we go. Over on the side table, we do have a little jar there. If you have any funding that you would like to donate over to Hatch, that would be great. There's also cards there with a QR code to head to their website and make a donation there. So let's see here. There we go. All right, gener8tor. So gener8tor was founded in 2012 and has a vision for supporting innovation and entrepreneurship through the lens of race, place, and gender. Where only 2.6% of venture capital has historically been invested in Black and Latinx founders, gener8tor has made 42% of its investments into startups with a founder of color. Where only 20% of venture investment has gone outside of major tech hubs like Silicon Valley, Boston, New York, gener8tor has made 82% of its investments outside of these major tech markets. And where traditionally only 2.3% of all venture capital has been invested into female founders, gener8tor has invested 33% of its investments into women founders, and 17% of those companies are women of color. gener8tor's vision for more intentional inclusivity in the startup world has led to 173 investments, more than 5,000 jobs, $651 million in follow-on financing, and over 50% of the companies that we've invested in have gone on to raise $1 million or more in capital or been acquired. Oops. Tonight, you're going to hear from founders who participated in our intense 16-week-long venture studio program. We invested $100,000 into each one of these companies in Huntsville to build them up from the ground up. Here's a little video that we put together about the venture studio program.
In which we are building startups from scratch with founders. So rather than investing in existing companies, we are finding founders who are really talented, who are domain experts. We're layering in our expertise, and we are building a brand new company with them from scratch.
An amazing opportunity for the founders and founding teams that get selected for it. Right out of the gate, you get a $100,000 investment to then explore 4 different ideas, get connected to 100 mentors, go out, prove there's market demand for what you have, and then talk to at least 80 to 85 investors who are looking for new ideas like yours.
This is about down and dirty, uncertainty, living with your customers, building a product from scratch, bubblegum and duct tape, if you will, and figuring it out. And we're here to support you. We're your champion. We're investing in you. You know, in my opinion, there's no bigger compliment than we can give than investing $100,000 into you and your business. And when we do that, our incentives are aligned. We are fully committed in terms of your success, whether that's access to our network, whether that's peer-to-peer support, whether that's mentorship and advice and access to follow-on capital. You know, that's our job.
You know, the traditional path of entrepreneurship is more or less random. You have a bunch of information floating around in the back of your brain, and then one day, you know, a eureka moment strikes. And it might be even 18 months, 2 years before you decide to actually muster up and actually take a go at it. This process is very quick, and it comes with capital in hand. You know, our goal is that we want people to be able to focus on building and scaling something that could become huge, that could define their careers.
It is overwhelming, especially if venture capital is new to you and, you know, you've just watched Shark Tank or just, you know, read a couple books here and there. But this stuff's really for everyone. And I think that our goal at gener8tor is obviously to run these programs, but it's also to expose people, you know, that look a certain way or think a certain way that, hey, if you want to do this, if you want to go through and explore venture capital, this is a space for you. You don't have to, you know, look like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. It can be for anyone.
So we're looking for people who are obviously very smart, people with degrees of domain expertise, people who are confident, people who are creative, people who are good storytellers. That's really, really important. And then also, we also spend a lot of time looking for people who are coachable.
When we find founders who are maybe new to entrepreneurship and don't self-identify as founders right off the bat, we can help them practice those skills and learn how to be a little bit riskier and how to be okay with pivoting and iterating. And I think in the end, kind of anybody can be a founder if you see a problem and you put your mind to solving it.
I think it's scary whenever you share something that you've internalized with the world, but then to get that positive feedback is definitely validating.
For companies that are in the Accelerator Studio to work with mentors and investors, it's dynamic. But it's also a learning process where you'll see, okay, if I get more revenue, as I get more employees, as this goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, you learn how your ability to attract resources is also built off your momentum. But as you see these meetings change and the questions change and how people want to engage with you and help you change based on your own progress, it gives you a foreshadow of what's to come. Just the potential, if you continue to invest in yourself and you continue to grow your company, that you can change the questions people think. You can change the conclusions people want to draw by writing your own script and creating your own momentum. I think for people, when they really take that to heart, it's an incredibly empowering feeling. And it's one of, I think, the not discussed enough topics of mentorship and investor meetings that, yep, you're going to do it. You're going to go through it. You're going to feel stronger from it. You're going to get a lot of help from it. And you're going to learn just how able you are to change the conception around you by creating your own value.
Something I would say to somebody who's joining or thinking about joining an accelerator studio is apply and make sure they're the right fit for you. Like, I just started applying to other accelerator studios, and there were some where the team wasn't offering the same level of like community or communication that I'm looking for. And so I would say, like, yeah, do your research and make sure you want them on your team. These people are there to support you and help you make a business and start a startup. And if you want to do that and that's the route you think you want to take, go for it.
We are all about community and building out a mentor base, building out an investor base, customers within the community in which these companies are being established. But we have a national presence. And so I think a major value proposition to these entrepreneurs for going through our program is to tap into that broader network. We never know what's going to happen when we get in front of somebody and we share our story and we share our entrepreneurial pursuits. And when we go through our program to get in front of mentors, not just here locally or here regionally, but nationally, that really opens the aperture of where we may have been focused. And you start to see the connections across the board in ways that you never would have before.
I think building a startup is incredibly difficult. There are many challenges along the way, and oftentimes it's difficult to not want to give it up and go back to a steady paycheck. But the rewarding aspect of solving those problems and growing and building is an incredible thing. And I think we're fortunate that we get to see it often with a lot of our companies. I would just say continue to hustle, continue to drive, and as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, I think it'll be incredibly rewarding in the end.
With that, I would like to invite Lindsay up from RCP Companies. Lindsay is in charge of marketing and property activation, and RCP is one of our key partners here in Huntsville and the reason that gener8tor is here in North Alabama. So please welcome Lindsay to the stage.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, everybody. My name is Lindsay Patillo-Keen, and I'm with RCP Companies in Mid-City. And what a special night. I just want to say thanks to everyone who's put this together. I do want to list who is a part of all of this. The gener8tor team: Chris, Swa, Amanda, Lisa, Lauren, Prentice, Maggie, Nicole, Joe, Jess, and Haley up at the front. And then arguably the hardest job of tonight, it's those guys and gals who are unearthing all these ideas and sharing them with us. So we really appreciate you guys. It's so vulnerable to dust off that diary that you had that one idea, and now you're really showcasing that and bringing that to fruition. So that's really what tonight is about. And we could not do that without sponsors. And when we ask for money, people are saying yes, because they believe in how important this is and important this is in our region. So Alabama Department of Commerce, First Metro, Bank Independent, Arco Murray, Robbins and Morton, Feathering Hill Capital, Fortive Law Partners, Iron Mountain Solutions, just like Chris mentioned, they're incredible partners. And I glanced at the calendar and I looked at when we announced, Mid-City announced this partnership with gener8tor, and it was April 21. So it's been less than a year, and all this impact that we've made. It's absolutely incredible. We're changing the startup culture in this region, and we want to say an extra appreciation to gener8tor, and we hope to make this region even better than it already is. And if you haven't visited Mid-City, make sure to follow us and come visit us, because we love being a part of this great region. So thank you guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Lindsay. And with that, we're going to have Aaron come up from the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce. Aaron is in charge of excuse me there. Erin's in charge of Cummings Research Park. She's the executive director, and she's going to talk about the importance of innovation in the entrepreneurial ecosystem as it relates to economic development in the region. So Erin, please.
Thanks, Chris. Want to say thank you to everyone here and watching online. We're really excited to get to this point and to be able to celebrate the entrepreneurs that are sitting here. And we first want to say, again, echoing thank you to the sponsors for bringing this type of program and this type of organization to North Alabama to really activate the startup culture that Huntsville has and will have going forward even more with the success of this program. If you think about Huntsville, our fabric is innovation and is that startup fabric. When you think back to some of in the 50s and the 60s and the companies that were created, you know, Spacecraft Inc., Adtran, so many others that have stood the test of time and are now some of those community partners longstanding here in Huntsville. And so you look at the Digium and those companies that are at Hudson Alpha, and this startup culture continues to thrive in Huntsville and has become part of our fabric. To the entrepreneurs, thank you for your innovation, your passion, and most of all, your perseverance, because those are three key elements that will no doubt take you and launch your ideas and your solutions. And the Huntsville community celebrates that with you. We want to help you connect and collaborate across our region for your support. And that is critical to our economic development. It's critical to the continued growth of our community. We absolutely need and want to support organically grown companies. And we know that we can continue to do that through programs like gener8tor. So thanks very much for having us, and we're excited to hear some of these pitches today.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Well, before we kick things off, we're pretty excited. We have 4 live pitches, and we're going to be doing one pitch that's been pre-recorded on video. And it's going to be a great evening hearing their stories. Entrepreneurship's incredibly difficult. Being a startup founder is really tough. A lot of times people think you're crazy. They don't know why you're doing what you're doing. So it really, truly does take a community, and just incredibly proud of this community here and the broader entrepreneurial community around the country. Before we jump into the pitches, we're going to be offering some prizes throughout the night from other gener8tor portfolio companies. So the first prize tonight, the first drawing, is from a company called the Jolly Fruit Company. So with this prize, you'll be getting a 5-pack of sun-dried fruit, handcrafted by rural female farmers from all around the world. So with that gift, it is going to be going to, let's see who we got here. Oh, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose there. Samir, and Samir's here. All right, round of applause for Samir. Make sure we get that over to you. So that's our first prize tonight. The entrepreneurs are going to come up. They're going to pitch for 5 minutes, and then we're going to ask them a couple questions after their pitch, and they will be around after their pitches to be able to answer any questions one-on-one with you. So with that, we're going to go ahead and welcome Jeff Liu up. Jeff will be pitching on Grow Safe.
Thanks, Chris. Really excited to be here today. So, hi everyone. My name is Jeff Liu, and I'm the founder and CEO of Grow Safe. So, we deliver financial literacy education to elementary school children through gamification, and we're partnering with financial institutions to bring them that content in a fun and interactive way. So first off, we're already working with 8 different chapters of Big Brothers Big Sisters across the country. So we're piloting our mobile app with them in March and reaching about 300 kids. So really excited to have this in play already. So real quick about me, when my dad first moved to the United States at the age of 24, we didn't have a lot of financial resources. And growing up, it wasn't that my parents didn't want to teach me about money, it's that they didn't know how. And, neither did the teachers I was learning from. So I was fortunate enough to land a job at Capital One at the age of 18. And through that, learned a lot more about the importance of knowing what to do with your money and how to build generational wealth. So turns out a lot of young adults face these same challenges. 83% of 18 to 35-year-olds failed a basic financial literacy quiz. So we're talking about credit scores and taxes and all of this easy stuff that people gradually learn over time as they make mistakes. So what's really interesting is that there's hundreds of millions of dollars poured into solving this problem. There's money in schools, there's money in nonprofits. So why isn't that we haven't solved this problem for young adults today? And the answer is we talked to about 50 parents of young children, and really the biggest thing we heard is that people aren't going far enough upstream. And that is, when we look at the psychology research, it turns out before age 7, kids are actually learning about money. And they're really learning from their parents and their teachers about how to earn and spend and give. And the craziest thing is that the vast majority of parents just aren't comfortable talking about money. Understandable, but it turns out on the same side with teachers, while there are more and more states with rigorous financial literacy requirements, only 6 states to date have standalone personal finance classes required, and all of those classes happen in high school. One of those is Alabama, so really excited about that. So how do we go about teaching 5 to 7-year-old kids then? It's a pretty interesting challenge. And the answer has been gamification. So that means making it more fun and interactive for the kids. So we've seen Duolingo and Udemy IPO in the last 12 months. So a lot of success there so far. And after doing the customer interviews, we've also sent out a customer survey reaching about 200 more parents. And we found that it really comes down to these 4 core components. I just want to highlight, a sense of progression for kids is absolutely so important. So we've also taken the time to talk to about 30 financial institutions in the area and get their content partnerships and helping us produce the content from scratch. So we're really taking what already exists in the financial literacy world and turning it into something that's a bit more fun for kids. So that brings us to GrowSafe, which is a mobile app that delivers this content through games, through quizzes, and through all these different types of interactive lessons. So our initial approach here is to work directly to consumers. Kids absolutely want to learn and play games. So one of the big markets we've identified is homeschooling parents who are already paying for software like this. We're also looking to roll out initially with a limited free version with a premium option. So the free version brings them in with a freemium model, and the premium option costs about $7 per month per user. And in the long run, like I mentioned earlier, we're getting content from these banks and from credit unions in the area, and we're going to use those same banks to sell directly to their customers as well. So really, really exciting stuff. So we've also taken the time to talk to a lot of these organizations who might help us expand the reach. So that's about 75 homeschooling co-ops, community organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, and school administrators. And we already have about 2,000 website visits after just putting our website up at about 17 cents per click. And we raised $100,000 from gener8tor. So I want to take a moment and talk about what homeschooling looks like. So if we just think about that small slice of the market, so 4% of kids, and we charge about $7 per month, that brings us to just shy of $100 million per year, which is absolutely very exciting stuff. And if we're able to reach those credit unions, that's about 10 times that. And there's a lot more children beyond that as well. But what I really think is the most exciting component here is that we want to build partnerships with kids so that when they're 15 and opening their first bank account or looking for their first credit card, or maybe they're thinking about purchasing a car at 24, 25, we want to have content all throughout your life. So really excited about building that foundation. So we think this market could be a lot bigger in the future. So real quick, this is what the team looks like right now. My name is Jeff, and my background is in engineering. Worked at a few different startups. And I'm working with Scott right now, who is a game developer based out of Birmingham and has 8 years of mobile app development experience. Also working with Bruce, who is an instructional designer, really interested in education. So after we launch our pilot in March, we'll be looking to raise some more funding. We'll be looking to hire 2 more developers and a product designer. So that'll be a pretty exciting experience. But what I want to highlight here is our goals for the end of 2022. So like I said, we've got plans locked down with about 300 kids so far, but we're hoping to reach a much bigger number by the end of the year and focus in on a couple of the school districts in the area, including Alabama and Virginia, which are some of those schools with rigorous requirements that we're already talking to right now. So we've got a great game developer and really strong customer research. We are capitalizing on growing trends at the state level for financial literacy, and we find ourselves in a really exciting space. That's gamification. And it's cool to be here because we've already got pilot programs lined up and a few content partnerships as well. So I'm really excited to share GrowSafe with you. I think we're onto something really exciting and that can help a lot of children. And thank you for your time.
So Jeff, we have two questions for you. First question, what was your process in defining your first product, your MVP? Can you tell us a little bit about how that went?
Yeah, definitely. I think for us, it really came down to talking to customers. So that meant looking for parents and saying, what's so challenging about teaching your kids? What's so challenging about teaching your kids about money? And how often do you think about this? And the more we talked to them, the more we realized, okay, like parents have some idea of what they want for their kids and when they want their kids to be taught. So that helped us hone in on the right age range, the right types of games. And those parents are also really helpful because then when we have the product ready, we're going to roll it out to them first. So we've already started building out that email list. But when it comes to building this first product, it was really a matter of seeing who would actually use something like this and getting their feedback.
Great, thanks. And this next question is a question we're going to ask every founder tonight. What advice would you have for somebody who may be sitting in the crowd or online watching that's thinking about starting their own company and being a founder? What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, first off, I'm really thankful to be here. I didn't necessarily think I would have this opportunity so early in my career. What I would say is building a support network is absolutely so important to my experience. So that's finding people who are going through similar challenges, or making sure you have friends and mentors you can talk to about the unique challenges of going through a process like building a company. I think people are always willing to listen, and being able to always be looking for new mentors and folks who are willing to help out. I think that's really contributed to my experience so far.
Great, thanks so much, Jeff. Round of applause for Jeff.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Bree with House of Fifth.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bree Ucano, and I'm the founder of House of Fifth. We are a premium and fashion-forward blank garment brand. You can basically think of us as the Black-owned American apparel. And after just being in business for about 3.5 months, we already have 750 shirts pre-ordered. And we're addressing the fact that Black ownership doesn't exist at every step of the blank garment supply chain. This is the supply chain, and if you take a look at it, you'll see at the beginning of the process, there's little to no Black ownership. This is a problem because African Americans influence a lot of the fashion trends that you see today and spend $42 billion annually on apparel. This is really critical because in the past 2 years, there's been a lot of civil unrest, especially around the Black Lives Matter movement. People have been protesting with their dollars. They want their values to align with their spending. Corporations are pledging billions of dollars to the movement and investing money in Black-owned businesses. So you have the $42 billion that's getting spent in the industry. And then you have hundreds of thousands of dollars that mid to large size B2B companies are spending on apparel swag every year, but they have no company to invest those dollars in and support. And so House of Fifth is providing premium and fashion forward blank garments for the decorated apparel space. We're really proud of being Black owned, but we're also proud of driving more inclusivity and diversity in this particular market. We're also challenging the status quo of the designs we've seen in the blank garment industry for the past few decades. And we would like to have Black ownership across the entire supply chain, but we're specifically starting off with targeting buyers. We want to build up brand recognition so that we can have the capital to start targeting the different pieces of the supply chain and have ownership. And so in our current state, our customers buy garments in bulk and on a recurring basis. So thinking B2B companies, especially the ones who've pledged to support Black-owned businesses, sororities and fraternities, sports teams, Black-owned apparel brands, and social media influencers. So right now, in the current state, our customers can get blank garments or provide us their artwork, choose shirts, as many as they want in different colors, and then provide all the order details to us, and they'll receive their garments at whatever destination they choose. Today, it costs us about $11 to produce our shirts, and our customers pay a base price of $18. And we have a really large opportunity in the market. 500 million custom t-shirts get produced in the US annually. And with us selling at $18 per shirt, we have a $9 billion total addressable market. Our focus right now is on the B2B space, but we have the capacity to also go direct to consumer. And there's a $15 billion total addressable market in that lane. As I mentioned earlier, we've been in business for about 3.5 months, and I'm really excited about the milestones we've been able to hit in a short amount of time. With our 750 pre-ordered shirts, that's $15,000 of potential revenue. We already have 262 social media followers and recently signed on a new advisor. His name is Ryan Moore. He has 20 years of experience in the decorated apparel space and also built a blank garment brand from sustainable materials. And you guys are also getting a new announcement here first. We're actually officially ready to start fulfilling orders, and we'll be launching on February 5th. Thank you. We have been building a really great team behind the brand. We have a lot of different experience across a number of different industries, but most importantly, we've built fashion brands. We've led world-class customer service teams. We have B2B sales experience and global logistics and supply chain experience. And we're collectively asking for $500,000 to hire a full-time employee to build up the inventory we need to get into the number of distribution channels to hit our milestones. And then we would like to enhance our order and fulfillment process and really drive our marketing strategy. So you might be asking yourself, why House of Fifth? And one, we've generated revenue opportunities without a physical product. We also have a highly skilled team with relevant experience that can build the company in its current state and beyond. And lastly, it's perfect timing. There are a lot of different social factors that are coming together at the perfect time that we can take advantage of and make a really great impact. So we're really excited to partner with customers and investors who really see the vision and want to go on this journey with us. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to answering the questions.
Great, thanks, Bree. So question for you, how did you build out your supply chain so quickly?
Well, if you want to build out a supply chain, you cannot do it quickly if you want to do it the right way. And we realized that we're a startup. We have to generate revenue really quickly. So we made strategic partnerships with companies that already have established supply chains that are allowing us to sell our garments with, or sell garments that are already being produced with our brand on it. While we're doing that, we're taking our time to build an ethical and responsible supply chain. So we're taking our time and really making sure that all of the vendors that we work with, the manufacturers, and any company that partners with us aligns with our mission.
Awesome, thanks. And same question that I have for Jeff. What advice would you give to somebody sitting in the crowd looking to start their own company?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that if you have a vision, definitely like chase after like what you see. And there's this saying that says like take a day at a time. I like to take problems and break them down into digestible pieces. I like to take a moment at a time because you could be having a really great conversation with a potential customer and then have a not so great conversation with an investor in the same day. And so I really encourage people to take a moment at a time, recenter yourself, really think about your why so that you don't get discouraged because the journey is tough, but you can do it. And if you can see it, just grab onto that and continue moving.
Great, thanks. Round of applause for Bree.
Thank you.
All right, before we bring Amanda up, the next person presenting, we actually have another prize, Alpine Fit. It is a fitted Traverse headband. So if you've been looking for a headband, this is like your opportunity. All right, and the winner of the headband is Cabrillo, one of the founders. All right, how about that? All right, so with that, we will go ahead and welcome Amanda up on stage with Never Forget.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I'm Amanda Banks. I'm the president and co-founder of Never Forget. We help people remember the things that matter to them with an AI-powered platform. Before I jump into like who we are and what we do, I want to share the results from our pilot program that we ran in Q4. We wrapped with more than $600 in revenue with an average order per person of $20. So we're right on target with what we expected to do, and we're excited to take this and start scaling it up now. So burnout is a huge problem, and never forget really comes from my own experiences with burnout. When I was doing the research for Never Forget, I discovered that it's much more pervasive and much more persistent than I really had thought. The World Economic Forum estimates that it is a $322 billion drain on the global economy every year. Since that study was done, reports of burnout have increased 313%. By some estimates, 95% of US workers are burned out. And it's not just an isolated problem. We've been studying burnout for a long time, and we know that one of the most common problems associated with it is an issue remembering names and dates. When you start forgetting the people that are important to you, when you start forgetting the dates that are important, you miss out and you start alienating people. They think that you don't care. And it creates this spiral of despair. That's the actual name. And it's really hard to recover from because you've lost your support network. That's where Never Forget wants to come in and help. We help people remember what matters, reduce their mental load, and strengthen their support systems. We do that by tracking their timelines. We send psychology-based reminders on their schedule, and we offer curated gift suggestions for important events like birthdays and anniversaries, so they don't show up empty-handed or a day late and $1 short. It is accessible from any web-enabled device. If you go to our website right now, you can register to become a member. You can check out our holiday gift guide that's up right now, and you can also start requesting curated gifts. Since we launched, we have sourced more than $30,000 worth of gifts and service suggestions from independent women-owned businesses. We operate on a freemium subscription model, so there is a level for every need. We also make money by our 10% concierge fee for people who need extra support. And we have affiliate profit sharing agreements with 18 different partners so far, including Cricut, Black Bow Jewelry, Gift and Market, and Loop. The market opportunity for this is massive. If you look at the average gift budget for every person in America, that is a $237 billion total addressable market. We want to focus on burned out parents. They are the people who are consistently asking for the most support. And if we reach them with our $20 average order, we have a $4.6 billion obtainable market. The team is made up of myself and Tess Romans. I have a background in systems engineering research. I graduated from the University of Alabama in Huntsville, and I have led projects from the NSF, NASA, and the Department of Defense. Tess Romans has a really great, strong history in customer service with GameStop and recently graduated from gener8tor's skilling program. Right now, we're not asking for money. The $100,000 investment from gener8tor is getting us spun up so that we will be able to begin fundraising in Q2. Right now, we are looking for connections to people who are experts in digital acquisition, virtual assistant technology, and also introductions to potential partners at Etsy and Artfire so that we can connect with more local independent businesses. That is Never Forget. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Great job, Amanda. So first question for you is, how did you determine your pricing model?
So like a good researcher, I followed the data. We looked at subscription model pricing across several different industries. And originally we settled on a single price model. But after doing customer interviews and talking with mentors, we decided that a tiered model is best so that we can address everyone's need according to what they're looking for.
Awesome, thanks. And same question for you. What advice would you give to somebody who's interested in launching a new startup themselves?
And I think what Jeff and Bree have said are great. You know, you have to have a great support network. You have to follow your why. And for me, you can't be afraid to jump in feet first. This is your passion. This is something you want to do. You have a vision. You understand your problem. Go for it. There is support out there no matter where you are. We're lucky to be in Huntsville with such a great network of startup support that exists. Find it, do what matters for you.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. So this next pitch is actually a pre-recorded video. Brian, who is the CTO of Semantic Guard, will be giving the pitch. I've actually been fortunate enough to be a co-founder alongside of Brian with Semantic Guard. So I get to play on kind of both ends of, both sides of the table here, both part of investing in the companies through gener8tor's program and running the venture studio, but also be a founder myself. So I just want to take a quick minute. Semantic Guard was a joint venture that was born out of a relationship between gener8tor and CFD Research. And when you look at some of the key strengths here in Huntsville is incredible engineering talent. There's technology, a robust talent pool, and these massive support from both the DoD, from NASA, to get some of the leading technologies out into the hands of our warfighter, out in the hands of our space programs. And so we had this really unique opportunity here in Huntsville to be able to come alongside an organization like CFD Research, who's leading in engineering out in the world, to be able to form and create Semantic Guard. So it's been a blast, and I'm excited for you all to hear Brian pitch Semantic Guard.
Hi, I'm Brian Palmer, and I'm the CTO of Semantic Guard. Semantic Guard defends organizations against cyber threats by guarding the software applications that they develop or buy. GuardX is our patent-pending technology developed by our team with over $4 million in Department of Defense funding. GuardX is an application-specific protection, detection, and response platform designed to safeguard organizations against bad actors attempting to extract, exploit, or distort safety-related data. GuardX informs security professionals of application behavioral anomalies and can stop attacks in real time. Our inside-out approach to cybersecurity leads to high efficacy and low performance impact on the applications that we're protecting. GuardX was recently demonstrated to U.S. Army Aviation and detected 100% of the cyber attacks with a 0% false positive rate. The GuardX latency impact on the application performed 8 times better than traditional security offerings. And we are excited to announce that we have several pending early adopters ready to deploy GuardX within the next month in the healthcare and financial services industries. Additionally, we recruited John Cicchetti as our Chief Product Officer. John is the former Executive Director for the Center of Cybersecurity at Stanford Research Institute and a former Senior Vice President with Trustwave Holdings, a cybersecurity company that was acquired for $850 million. Flagstar Bank, Can Financial, and Trinity Health are a few examples of leading enterprises who have had their software applications attacked recently, leading to Social Security numbers stolen, health records compromised, and operations suspended. These application layer attacks have become the single biggest cause of data breaches across all industries. They have increased by 800% between 2019 and 2020, and they cost organizations on average of $2.7 million each to remediate the impact. John Nagler, who oversees evaluating cybersecurity tools at the University of Wisconsin, compared GuardX to being the smoke detector for cyber fires. If you look at the 7 layers of cybersecurity, GuardX sits at the application layer. This is the conduit for information flow. Traditional approaches used over the last few decades have focused on the outside-in and security, attempting to characterize every incoming threat to the network, the endpoint, and the application. This approach has only proved to be partially effective because attack types are moving targets. There are hundreds of thousands of types with new ones evolving each day. Traditional outside-in approaches lead to high false positive rates. They require humans in the loop for analysis, and they create massive vulnerabilities. GuardX takes an unparalleled inside-out approach to security by characterizing the application we're protecting versus chasing the constantly evolving threats. Our inside-out approach produces 3 key differentiators that separate us from the other products on the market. First, GuardX performs application-specific protection, detection, and response versus threat-specific. We characterize the software only versus chasing the evolving threat. This leads to lower false positive rates, and we can protect against zero-day attacks. GuardX delivers actionable intelligence versus information overload. Rather than manually observing and analyzing information, we automate the analysis, offering actionable insights that can stop attacks in real time, and we can prevent data and dollars lost. GuardX provides multimodal trust scores versus manual analysis, meaning we cross-analyze trust scores from each of our 6 modules, increasing efficacy and decision-making speed. Our initial go-to-market strategy will focus on healthcare and financial industries because both of these industries have higher vulnerabilities and enhanced regulations around information technology. 75% of healthcare software applications are considered highly vulnerable, and financial institutions are the most targeted industry for application layer attacks. Overall, business-to-business application security is projected to grow at 25% year over year for the next 4 years, with application security companies are exiting within 5 years at 15 to 20 times their ARR. We have a strong team of technologists, serial entrepreneurs, and a collective 30-plus years of experience commercializing government-funded R&D. We are planning on opening a $750,000 seed round, which will take us through Q3 of 2023, by which point we expect to have $470K in ARR. The funds will be used to launch our next generation solution, secure additional small business and mid-sized businesses, 3 enterprise customers, and expand a pilot program into the utilities vertical. The impact of cyber threats is becoming more visible while the status quo remains archaic and obscure. So why us? We have state-of-the-art intellectual property developed with $4 million in Department of Defense funding. We have exclusivity over 100% of the intellectual property. We have an experienced team with a chief product officer that was part of an $850 million cybersecurity exit. And we have a potential customer who thinks our product could be the smoke detector for cyber fires. Every home has a smoke detector, and we want to work with partners to make sure every business has GuardX. Thank you for your time.
So we have one more pitch tonight, but before we get to that last pitch, we also have one last prize. And this prize is coming from Wild Wonder, and it's a variety pack of their prebiotic and probiotic sparkling drink, another one of gener8tor's portfolio companies. And the winner of this is Julian Waddell. Julian Waddell. So with that, we'll go ahead and welcome Cabrillo up to the stage to pitch Vow.
Hi, I'm Cabrillo Diabru. I'm the president of Vow, which is a digital asset and valuable management platform. Before I get into our pitch, I really want to let you know that we've worked really hard to get partnerships with some insurance companies. So we have a partnership we've worked out with both Jewelers Mutual and with Brightco, which helps us do some of our digital audits and provides accessible insurance for people who want to insure their jewelry items. We also have 30 signups so far, including 2 plus plans and 1 premium plan, which we'll get into a little bit. So how many people here have ever lost a piece of jewelry? I'm assuming almost everybody's lost something, right? And how often when you lose a piece of jewelry, is it a gift? Like, it's not like something you bought yourself, it's something somebody else bought you, right? So you can't even just go out and replace it yourself. So this is something that's happened to me directly. I've lost every single piece of jewelry I've ever owned in my existence. Some of them really stupid, like I lost a piece of jewelry playing basketball. Like, who wears earrings to play basketball? And then some of it just disappeared. And 2 of the most valuable items that I've lost were both gifted to me by my mother. And one of it was my high school graduation ring. It was super cool. I picked a bunch of things off the checklist that I couldn't tell you what they were today. They told me this was my birthstone. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want. And the second, for my 8th grade prom, she got me a little chain. It had like a C. It was like almost like a throwing star. I could kind of describe it to you, not well enough to describe it to a jeweler, of course, because I tried after it disappeared to explain to the jeweler who made it what it was. You said you couldn't replace it. And this is really common for a lot of people because $900 million worth of jewelry is lost or stolen annually. Only 3% of this jewelry is ever recovered. What's really important about that is that when you think of things like engagement rings, 45% of all engagement rings are considered custom. So that means there's not another one of these you can just run out to the store and get. This had custom elements. There were certain details put into it. And a lot of people struggle with this problem. And that inspired me to create Vow. And Vow is a jewelry-focused asset management and detail storage system, which basically means that what we do is we allow people to upload detailed images of their jewelry into our system. In the event of loss or theft, you'll be able to get a replacement exactly like the item you lost. We also have a digital appraisal tool that we're building into it, which allows you to maybe find out what that heirloom your great-grandmother gave you is actually worth. And you can decide if you want to insure it in real time right from our system through our partners and get insurance for these items to make sure they're protected both sentimentally and physically and financially. It's a cute little 3-step process. So here's how we charge. We have a freemium revenue model. Jewelry box, just to get onto the system with a single item, it's free. Just add an item, go through the profile, we'll build the digital profile out for you. If it's your most valuable item, that's wonderful. Up to 3 items is $4.99. And if you want the premium, you have unlimited items, you're a jewelry collector of sorts, it's $10. Initially, we're targeting married couples. So there's 63.4 million married couples in the United States alone. Engagement rings are the most valuable owned item for 37% of them. So they don't own their house, they don't own their car. The only thing of financial value that's owned by them is their engagement ring. And only 1/3 of these people have any kind of jewelry protection or insurance. If we sold plus plans to these 63.4 million people, it's a $3.8 billion market that we can reach. So who am I? I'm Cabril Diabru. As I said before, I'm the president of Vow. I worked at places like LinkedIn and Microsoft in product management, and I'm a chronic jewelry loser and breaker. As I said, I bought these earrings today because I felt really bad about showing up to do a jewelry-based pitch with no jewelry. So that shows you that I'm really a domain expert on losing jewelry. So what are we looking for? Money is great, and if people would like to donate money or buy some equity in the company, that'd be awesome. But what we're really focused on is building out our network. So insure tech people, anybody who works in insurance technology would be awesome. Jewelry and jewelry owners, estate planners, wedding planners, and direct jeweler connections are really important to us. We're really trying to target just 1/4% of the married couple market immediately, which would get us almost $800,000 in monthly recurring revenue. So we're Vow. We're providing peace and protecting sentiment. It's our website there, and you can reach us at these contact information. Thank you. Something says thank you after that.
Great job, Cabril. So the question for you is, what effective strategies have worked to acquire your customers?
So that's a really interesting question. So the thing is that you don't really think of the impact of losing jewelry, even when you lose jewelry, right? Like it's kind of like I lost jewelry and you kind of move on, right? And there's an insurance industry standard that says anything below $2,500, people don't find important enough to insure. If $2,500 is a lot of money, like there's a lot of things less than $2,500 that are still too expensive for me to happily lose and move on about. So reaching out to people, reaching out to communities, especially millennial and minority communities, you find that jewelry insurance is not common at all in those communities. Most people have never heard of it. And the ones who have a really, really elitist threshold for it. They think like rappers and NBA players with their championship rings. But there's a sentimental value to a lot of items that you can't just equate to dollars and cents, right? So reaching out to people, talking to them about their lost jewelry stories and understanding what the impact of those losses were, whether it was a gift, whether it's something that they don't know where it came from, it was handed down generationally, and when it was gone, it left a void. It kind of gave me a starting point to talk to people and kind of say, hey, what if there was a way that we couldn't get you your exact item back because 3% of jewelry is ever recovered, but what if we could help you get as close as possible to that item again? What would that mean to you? And that's basically been my strategy.
Great, thanks, Cabril. And you're the final one to answer the question. What advice would you give to somebody in the crowd that's interested in starting their own company?
I think that's a great question because this process for me was an entire battle with the concept of fear, right? So in order to kind of start this program and to kind of take this leap, I had to really have an internal battle with like the what ifs of being a founder, right? Like there's like that fear of like, what if this doesn't work out? What am I giving up? What's going to happen? And what it came down to for me was like, hey, do I believe enough that what I'm doing is going to be impactful enough that no matter the outcome, I think I'll have made a shift in something, right? I've changed something for somebody. And this was just an idea that I really thought could do that. So it made it, if you have something that you kind of are thinking of or something that you think is a really good idea or really impactful, and you're kind of afraid of the what ifs of, you know, shifting your balance, I challenge a lot of people to ask themselves what's on the other side of that fear. So if you attack it and you get to the fear and you face it head on, what do you think is on the opposite of that? And go from there.
Great. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Brew. Thank you. We are at the end of our first Venture Studio premiere night here in Huntsville. We want to thank all our sponsors, all our partners, the community at large that surrounded these founders over the last 16 weeks. This is really just the beginning. This is the first Venture Studio program here in Huntsville. Many more to come, many more founders to cycle through. This is the start of their company, a lot of growth to happen. Just incredibly proud of every single one of them and the transformation that's happened over the last couple months. Thank you for everybody who's joining us virtually and everybody who's attended live. We appreciate you all coming here. One more round of applause for the founders. Thank you.